Good afternoon, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. What a show today. I've been able to book Mr. Matt Wasserlauf, the CEO and founder of Blockboard. And this is a great show. I've been waiting to get Matt on the show for a number of weeks. This is really what it is all about. Matt is at the intersection of advertising and blockchain technology with his newest offering, Blockboard. It's really incredible. Blockboard is really a new digital distribution platform service that utilizes blockchain technology to distribute videos. It's really the next generation of what's happening, the next generation of brand engagement and digital storytelling. Matt really has put together an amazing team. His proof of concept has gone remarkably well. People are starting to talk about Blockboard in a big way, and you definitely want to watch the entire show because this is very fascinating what's going on with Matt's company. Matt, welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series.
Great to be here. Thanks, Andy.
Matt, this is super cool what you're doing. You're combining what your experience and background is in digital storytelling, and you're combining it with a blockchain technology for a new digital distribution platform. Let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet, Matt, and tell everybody what Blockboard.co is really all about.
Okay, so excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Blockboard is the company, and what we've essentially done is rebuilt the video ecosystem on the blockchain. We use Ethereum. Ethereum is our system, and what blockchain does, and essentially it's a public ledger. So we're allowing or shining a light on how video runs and providing our customers, which are advertisers, a full view into how their campaigns are being operated, and it's exciting. That hasn't been done before. Blockchain has is getting a lot of headlines these days, and we feel like we're utilizing this new operating system to make video work. And the success has been great. We're excited about our early returns. Our customers are happy. So it's an exciting time for us at Blockboard.
Man, I love it so much. And of course, you mentioned Ethereum, which is the blockchain technology. If you go on Coinbase right now, Ethereum is probably the second leading blockchain technology in the world right now. There's so much talk about it. There's financial institutions that are about to adopt it. So that's a great blockchain technology to build this platform on. So when we talk about it, Matt, you've been in advertising, telling stories for many years, and you believe in video, and you believe that that video tells a great story, and you're a great storyteller for your clients. So how did you come up with this idea to sort of blend the passion that you have for great storytelling with the blockchain technology?
That's a great question. I as you said, I've been in the space a long time. I actually had my hands in the earliest days of digital video back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I've always believed in the promise of video. I think it's the market's really hitting its stride now. You're seeing the largest Hollywood studios turn their enterprises inside out into streaming companies now. So the time is really terrific. What I have learned over these past 20 years in digital video is a lot of the systems are running I would say wayward. They're not operating as best they could. And when I started to learn about blockchain several years ago, I was grabbed by it. The idea that you can provide a public ledger, you can provide visibility, viewability into how things work on this new system. The opportunity was too great. I knew our customers, our advertisers needed that. And so, yes, so we have now brought together the best of video on top of blockchain, and we're telling stories and providing our advertisers, those sponsors, a real view as to how their ads are working. And that's the promise of blockchain. And as you said, we're using Ethereum, which we found to be a little bit more of a utility, a little bit easier to build on. And we're excited about the early returns. So that's,
I love it. That's great, Matt. It's absolutely I understand so well what you're doing because you're really at the forefront of what's happening in the world. Now, you've been known throughout the years as surrounding yourself with very talented people as well and putting together amazing teams. And I believe one of your partners in this business is Matt Timothy. So let's talk a little bit about that because that's a great combination of two very interesting people that have come together to build this company.
It's one of the most exciting aspects of this for me. I actually worked for Matt Timothy at CBS. We were part of the earliest team building the digital aspects of the largest and most successful TV network. Actually, Jim DePalma was yet another person who we worked with that is now on board at Blockboard. So it's really the reuniting of a special team. We did great things back 20 years ago at CBS.com. We put the first ads on the network in digital, and we had a lot of success and a lot of fun doing it. So here we are 20 years later, reinventing TV with Blockboard. So it's just an exciting reuniting of a great team.
That's great, Matt. And obviously on the Entrepreneur Spotlights here, we always talk about putting together great teams. You know, you've been operating Blockboard through the pandemic as a proof of concept model. You're in that proof of concept mode. The people watching the show know what that means. And your results have been absolutely stellar. So tell us about Blockboard's success, you know, especially about the increase in sales and how the ads are working on the system right now.
Great. Yeah, when the pandemic hit last March, I turned to my team and I said, what we have to do, the ad market's going to soften. It's already coming to a screeching halt. I said, we have to focus on the technology. Let's make sure what we build is great and works. And we were successful finding a few pioneering sponsors. The one I'll talk about is 8 O'Clock Coffee. They're a 150-year-old coffee brand trying to reinvent itself. And they gave us a chance. They gave us an opportunity. And what we did essentially is we created content, advertising. We obviously integrated their brand into that content. We told stories and sold product. So as we were rolling out this video for the brand, they conducted a Nielsen sales study in the markets where we promoted this content. And they saw a 4x lift of sales. In other words, they sold off of tens of thousands of dollars of media spend. They sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of bags of coffee. So it was a really huge success. It was a Nielsen study that they shared with us, and it proved to us that when you market and deliver video properly, it can have huge results. And that was one of the most exciting case studies and happy customers we've had.
That is so exciting, Matt. You know, to take a company like 8 O'Clock Coffee who gave you the chance because they believe not only in your technology, but equally important with you and your partners and what you've been able to do throughout the years. You know, people that have a successful track record like you, oftentimes people sort of first movers, they say to themselves, you know, this is a gentleman or a lady that has earned the right for me to give them my business as a first mover. They went in with you all in, and you've just given them incredible results. So that's absolutely fantastic. Now, when we talk about the blockchain, Matt, you know, obviously we don't want to give a complete MBA about blockchain technology, but super high level, real high level, just so our viewers understand it. Why is the blockchain so important to what you're doing at Blockboard? Is it making it faster, making it more efficient, giving you better data? What's the reason for the blockchain?
You know, I remember reading about it, and it was called the fifth generation of computing. And I didn't get caught up in all this fancy tech talk. What I did notice is that it, at its essence, is a public ledger. It allows the public to see what's happening. And that is essentially what is not going on in the video business. Everybody is operating in a black box. The largest companies, the Facebooks, the Googles, all are operating in essentially a black box. And so it's hard to understand how this stuff is working, who's getting paid, is it driving real results? So I knew that as I was learning more and more about blockchain, I saw the opportunity to start to rebuild what we do in video and bring the various components together so that as an advertiser is running its campaign, they could see the results, full transparency on this thing called blockchain. Now, we chose to use Ethereum, as I mentioned earlier. And so for our customers, 8 o'clock coffee, they could see now each impression and how it's running. What we do that takes one step further from how most companies are operating in the space is we validate each impression. So we're able to say this impression hit a real human being in the target parameters that you set. So we were able to say, hey, 8 o'clock coffee, your ads are reaching this geographic area around these stores where you intended it to reach, and it reached real human beings. The results then spoke for themselves. They had the Nielsen sales report that determined that it was successful. But we, at the core, through our blockchain technology, Blockboard, was able to show them the full transparency of their campaign.
I love it, man. It makes all the sense in the world. And, I've been waiting to get you on the show. I've had some questions regarding media because I know you're a worldwide expert. You've got many, many years of experience. You're sort of a zeitgeist and somewhat of a forward thinker and really a shapeshifter in the field. So when we think about the pandemic that we're hopefully getting to the end of or have gone through, I've been wanting to think about with you and ask you this question regarding sort of media consumption. What's happening in the world today with media consumption? How has it changed with everybody sort of shifting to being at home, being out of the offices? What's happened in the media landscape? And perhaps tell us how Blockboard is maybe taking what's changed and turning it into something that's amazing for your clients.
Yeah, no, great. It's a great question. And yes, I always knew in the back of my mind that the next recession would tip the scales from linear TV to streaming. And I had sort of thought that as, streaming has grown incrementally over the past 15, 20 years, that it would take something like a recession to really drive that, where people would just said, enough is enough. I don't want to pay these large cable bills. I'm going to sign up for my streaming subscriber and save some money. But the pandemic made that happen exponentially. It made it an inexorable shift that it's never going to change and it's never going to go back. So now the world, because we've been stuck in our homes and had access to this streaming content, and these different streaming apps, if you will, now the shift has really been made huge. And so we are sitting at home now enjoying video on demand when we want to watch it through our various streaming apps. And there are many. It's going to be exciting to see who wins in this space. Obviously, Netflix was a big winner, but now you're seeing all the major studios and media companies launching their own brands. We're not going back. We're not going back to that world. And I'm excited about it for our company that's really focused on making sure it works for the advertiser. We're playing in all of these sandboxes. We're measuring everything, tracking everything, and delivering across all of those platforms for our customers. So it's an exciting time in streaming and a very exciting time at Blockboard.
I love it, man. It makes all the sense in the world. Let's talk about sort of the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is really the content, because advertisers need great content to attract potential clients. And of course, advertisers want to provide a world-class service to their clients, but to get the clients to know about that world-class service, they have to have content that's engaging, that gets people to take an action, to move. So when we think about content, how does Blockboard bring on the content? Are you actually creating the content, or do you just put the content on the distribution channel?
We do both. We do both. We have been providing different programming and shows that we've distributed with our sponsors, but we're also listening to our customers say, we have an idea for a program. Can you distribute it? And we're doing that. The good news is on the back end, we're tracking it all, so we can tell them this worked, this didn't work, this is a little bit better, maybe pare it down. So we're having a hand in the creative no matter what. But we do bring our shows to market, but we're also distributing our customers' programming.
I love it. That makes all the sense in the world. And when they work with you and your team, obviously they're getting a group of experts that have done this very successfully for many, many years. When we think about advertising, Matt, oftentimes in today's world, we think about social, and we think about social media programs for companies to promote their brand or promote their service or promote their company. And somebody might be watching the show saying to themselves, well, Blockboard is built on blockchain. Say that 3 times in a row if you can. And how does Blockboard integrate and talk to the social media platform? So let's talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, and that's really been the catalyst to a formation of content and the change in formation of content, because social media now is a much different viewing experience. It's a much different distribution experience. And so the old days of 30-second commercials, 60-second commercials is really in for a major change. Social media is driving that change. So yes, we are having a hand in that. We're consulting on what kind of content is working, what's not. We're able to distribute and track and measure on all these new social media platforms, which is key, so that we understand what does work and what doesn't. So it's an exciting opportunity. Social media is absolutely the catalyst for a lot of this content change, and we're excited about it. We're seeing great results. People are excited to see new content. They're acting on it. They're engaging with it. So for our customers, it's a whole new playground.
I love it. I love it so much, Matt. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the length of time that people have now to engage with an advertisement. Because, when I was growing up, I'd watch a football game and, you'd have all the ads, and the ads were interesting even back then. Sometimes you'd watch the ads. Sometimes you go to the refrigerator and get, a soft drink. But today, what's happening, if you watch a game, they're doing in-game ads where they sort of sweep away for maybe 7 to 10 seconds while the game is, at a timeout, and they're doing an ad in the corner, but they never go away from the game. So that's telling me that, people's attention span, maybe advertisers are thinking they only need 5-10 seconds to get their message across, or is it because people have such a small amount of time that you can engage with them that it doesn't make sense to do the long format ads anymore? But I'm trying to get what your thought is about that sort of, mindset.
2 things. First, that's linear TV's way of trying to adapt to a whole new world. They have to adapt. And so that's I think that is a positive move for the TV networks. And it sounds like you've been receptive to it. I know I have. So that's one. The second is, yes, attention deficit disorder. I mean, people just don't have the tolerance for the long commercials. What linear may or may never get right is harnessing frequency. You're going to see the same ad a lot of times on TV, and that does not work to the benefit of the advertiser. So now in social media and this whole new world of digital video, we're able to shorten the ads to meet the new attention spans of our viewers, but we're also able to harness frequency. So we can control how many times you see the ad and make that work so that the advertiser is seeing the benefits of that harnessed frequency. So those
I
are
love
the
it,
ways
Matt.
I look at it.
I love it so much. And obviously Blockboard is doing such great work already. Your proof of concept is through the roof. You've helped 8 o'clock coffee. And by the way, I love that name. You know, that just resonates with me. It's 8 o'clock. You need your coffee. And of course, you know, we have to think about now as entrepreneurs where Blockboard goes, because your proof of concept's done. You've done such a remarkable job for not only 8 o'clock coffee, but other clients as well. How do you ramp this up? How do you scale Blockboard? Where do you see it heading in the upcoming years?
Yep. No, we're so excited about the next few years. You know, the companies that we're finding the most success with and will scale with are those that want results. They want to get out of this black box. They need to see results. They need to see sales. They need to see registrations. Those are the clients that we're going to grow and scale our businesses with, because streaming video is just too great an opportunity to start to build their businesses. So we're excited about those types of clients that are saying the old ways, you know, where, you know, we don't know what half of our advertising is working, to use the old Wanamaker quote. We need to know what half of our ads are working, and we want to grow our business on that half. We're the guys for that. We're the people for that. We're the team for that. So Blockboard is going to build its business with customers that are looking for results.
Matt, I love it so much. And obviously you can tell from talking to you and the team that you've assembled that, you know, obviously the platform is world-class. It's built on a world-class technology platform. You've done so much great work with sort of uncovering the black box, but it all stems from your passion, Matt, to help your clients. And that's really the key, because all the technology in the world is great, but it becomes even greater when it's used as a useful tool for your clients. And it seems to me that really Blockboard has been built on this idea that we want to put our advertisers first. So let's talk about that idea a little bit and how that is so ingrained in you and what you're doing at Blockboard right now.
Yeah, I one of the biggest pride points I hold in the video space is I built Procter & Gamble in digital video back in 2004 when I started BBE, which was my first company. We were the first online video network. Procter & Gamble gave me the opportunity to take their first video ads and start to serve them across the digital web at that time. We didn't have apps, we had websites. So we started from zero and we built P&G over $100 million of digital video spend. We provided the ad serving technology, which was called Vindico at the time. And that opportunity I always really held and I handled with care. And what I've seen over the years as the video industry has scaled, and by the way, it's scaled to now $50 billion, according to eMarketer, in video spend. A lot of those ads aren't being seen. They're running out there in the ether, and there's not, you know, there's not a lot of, there's no accountability. And that accountability that's been lost, I feel a compelling sense to handle and help our industry really build the practices so that we can be accountable. So for the advertisers that have given me the opportunity, we've helped them, we've built their businesses. And for those companies that are going to take a harder look at how they're spending their money and where it's going and how it's performing, we see a huge opportunity. Advertisers need to demand more. I remember when Procter & Gamble, this is after I had sold BBE, so it wasn't under my care, but Procter & Gamble made a decision to pull all their digital video ads for 2 weeks to see if there would be any impact whatsoever on sales. And there was zero impact on sales. They pulled it down. There was no difference. And that told me there's a call to action here. I gotta fix this. I gotta help fix this. It's an industry I really care deeply about. I've had a hand in helping, and I see the opportunity to really change the narrative here. And that's what Blockboard is all about.
I love it, Matt, and you're definitely changing the narrative. You know, when we think about companies and their advertising spend, it's so important to get feedback and data, because so many companies work on the margins, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 10% differentiator or differentiation in margin for companies makes a huge difference. And it sounds to me like Blockboard can really assist with this, because you're giving this great data, this great analytics to your advertisers. They know what's happening. They can make great decisions with your expertise, help, and platform to change things that they have to continue to improve their ROI continuously. So congratulations on that, Matt. It's absolutely an amazing platform. Now, what I'd like to do here toward the end of our interview, Matt, and I know you've only sliced out a certain amount of time for us, and I do appreciate it so much. I know you're so busy working with new onboarding with new clients at Blockboard. When we think about entrepreneurship, I wanted to talk to you about entrepreneurship, because we have a lot of younger entrepreneurs that watch the show as well. And sometimes those younger entrepreneurs, they get a roadblock, or sometimes they hit a stumbling block, or they hit a wall that they are worried that they can't get through, or up or around or over or underneath, however you get through a block wall. And I know you've seen so much success in your life. And I know also you probably, as most entrepreneurs have come across some brick walls. So maybe you could give some insight and some inspiration to the younger entrepreneurs that are starting their company, or maybe have an existing company that are fighting through some struggles right now, to help them get through it in a way that's meaningful to them.
I believe in mentors. Jim DePalma, who's now on my team, was always my mentor. So when I ran into roadblocks, and there were so many of them, I would make a point to reach out to him, travel up and see him, talk to him, get his perspective. So the value of a mentor is just incredible. And so for I actually mentor my own young entrepreneurs. I have a couple that I talk to on an ongoing basis, and I say the same thing when persistence. You gotta push through. Sometimes when I'm talking to these young people, I'll say, if it was a bad day, close the book. Get an early jump to bed and close it down and start up anew. It's never easy. There's no straight line to your future and your success. And you got to learn to work through those roadblocks. So the value of a mentor would be my advice. I
love it, man. And obviously, when we sit here today and we look behind you and we see, autographed baseballs and all kinds of sports memorabilia and things like that, I love it so much. What do you think an entrepreneur can learn from a passion in sports, whether they play sports or love sports? What do you think an entrepreneur can sort of learn about that, either team or individual sport, and what it takes to sort of prepare and practice prior to the big game? Does that transfer over to the entrepreneur?
Yes. Oh, that's it strikes at the core of all this. A mentor is one team member, right? So as much as I say, find that one person, it takes a team. You can't do things by yourself. You got to find, who those people who can complement what you do, who can work through those roadblocks with you, who can bring a skill set that maybe you don't have, or, fill a need. It takes a team. Everything I've done through, my earlier years was sports oriented. It was on teams. I'm a baseball player, and you got to have a team. It takes a village, as they say. So, that's key. They don't necessarily have to be your hires. If you're talking about an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily have to hire them. You don't have to hire your mentor. You don't have to hire somebody who can probably, help you bring a skill set. But you have to have a team around you, and the better that team is, the more assured your success will be. So you want to find the right people. You want to find good people. You want to find people who can complement what you do. So the sports analogy is perfect. That's what it takes. It takes a team.
I love it, Matt. It makes all the sense in the world. For people that want to continue the conversation with Matt, check him out. He's on blockboard.co. They're all over social media. Matt is a founder and a CEO that, really makes himself available especially with his passion to helping advertisers and his customers. So reach out to him and get engaged, talk about it, and find out if this technology platform is for you. Because if you want to increase your ROI and increase sort of your knowledge and use data at the highest level to increase and improve your company, nothing is better than really this new digital distribution platform that really utilizes this blockchain technology to distribute videos in a way that's meaningful to the advertisers, to open up the black box that Matt calls it, so that you have complete understanding of what's going on with your buys and what's going on with your money spent, and nothing could be better. Matt, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on the Entrepreneur Spotlight series today. I've been waiting to get you on the show, and it's just been a true delight to have you, and congratulations on what you're doing at Blockboard.
Andy, thank you so much. A true pleasure. Pleasure was mine. Thank you.